What is up, Whale family? This is Nytmare bringing you Hang Time, where we talk NBA Top Shot, the market, fantasy basketball, and all things hoops and hype. As you can see, I'm sitting here on a pre-order screen. And if you didn't know, they just went with an announcement at Top Shot that they are going with another pre-order pack that everyone can do of the base commons series 2, and this is going to be delivered next week on the 7th. So good news is this pre-order is going to be held open for 2 days. So if you aren't available at this moment, or you're listening to a recording later on in the day, you can still jump on here, pre-order your packs, and then be able to get those and use them in your collection how you see fit. But that just broke maybe 20 minutes ago. So if you don't know, go ahead and hop in. As you can see, the queue isn't going anywhere, so we do have some time. In other news, we had talked about basketball kind of getting everybody in the Northeast ready to play again with the warmer weather. I'm sorry to say that warm weather has receded, and it's back to a blustery 40-30 degrees here, and actually blew my rollaway hoop down. So I may have to wait another month or so before I can get out there and embarrass myself. But in basketball news, in the NBA in general, we had some significant things this past week. The trade deadline came and went. Some moves to shake up the league. Unfortunately, my Celtics did not do anything I wanted them to do, and I don't really want to talk about it, but I'm interested to see what Aldridge does on the Nets and how he can contribute there. From a player affecting our fantasy league perspective, there was obviously some players that sat to nurse injuries and different things. Giannis being one of the biggest impacts there for anyone that plays in the Swish Fantasy League with us here at Whale. And in other significant news from the mainstream media perspective, we continue to have the mentions from the players, from celebrities. We talked about Ja Rule last week, getting more involved with some different things and popping into some media. But of course, everybody had seen this Saturday Night Live skit where they talked about NFTs. So a passing kind of reference to NBA Top Shot. I don't know if you guys caught it, but if you didn't, here's a bit of it. Yeah, the Peter Griffin. If you don't have that one, you can go look for that on the market. See if you can scoop that, because I'm sure it will be a hot commodity. But yeah, so mainstream attention continues to come to the project, and more eyeballs and more attention gives more validity to it to people that aren't involved in NFTs and crypto, and overall good things for the space and for those of us that are already involved. And if you don't know, on Twitter, there's actually some really great conversations happening in Twitter Spaces. So I was able to catch some of 2 this past week, and I would just highly recommend you keep an eye on that for things that could be popping up, similar to Clubhouse, where there's some market and industry leaders, people that are interested in it, get into a room, and you can get up there and take the floor and have a conversation, or just listen in to some of the great minds that are involved in the NBA and in NBA Top Shot. But in Top Shot news itself, this was a very busy week, actually. The pre-order base packs just went live, so that's breaking news. Gifting was tweaked off and on as they try to manage some different things, but it has just been reactivated today. And there was discussions about the restrictions they were using on gifting to try to minimize risk of exploitations and things of that like. And to do that, they're reinstituting it, but they're going to have some different caveats on being able to use it going forward. And some of the things I've seen discussed that I'm not certain any of them have actually been implemented or are going to be were things like minimum moment requirements. You have to own a certain number of them to validate yourself as an active user who's not using it maliciously. Mandatory account verifications. I know there'll be some mixed feelings about that, but really, if you plan to withdraw and you plan to, continue to be active with NBA Top Shot. It's something that's going to happen anyway. And then they talked about a significant cool down period between, when you gift. So we'll see how all of that plays out. But interesting to note that they've made some tweaks and feel more confident enough to reinstitute it today. And then one thing I found particularly interesting is Moment Ranks announced a social network of sorts that ties into NBA Top Shot with their Moment Ranks wall. And what happens is, people can literally interact with transactions that happen with NBA Top Shot. So, for example, here we have Harrison Barnes, who was going ham, spending a lot of money on Jason Tatum. Hey, maybe that's who he's confident in seeing coming out of the East, or a player that he really enjoys and thinks will appreciate and value through the years. But people can like it, people can put emoji reactions to it. There's a conversation that takes place below. And so, this will be interesting to have some more interactivity on the network, not only with, people that but you can go in and interact with these other people that are in the space that are whales or celebrities or players themselves. So I thought that was particularly cool. In other news over this past week, there was what we're branding and calling in some circles as the stimulus. So people that had particular issues with long-standing unanswered tickets or technical issues that weren't addressed, some of them were issued a reimbursement of sorts, and it varied by user, but what we're hearing is something between $100 to $250 were dropped into some Dapper accounts for people that had experienced particular issues that Dapper felt that they could have been more responsive with. So that stimulus likely went back into some more NBA Top Shot, or as someone put it on our Discord chat room, they put it into some whale after they got it out. But either way, significant that they would step up to the plate and try to say, hey, we're trying to make amends here. We're working through these growing pains, just like we've been talking about every week. And in that vein, they also announced that they had raised their access levels to withdrawals. I think there's something like 35,000 users that are now able to withdraw their money. And they had to actually reinforce their support system for this process. They had mentioned that they had 4 employees that had been working on withdrawals all by themselves. And so this week they're actually doubling those resources to 8, but they still estimate, the process will take 6 to 8 weeks to onboard most accounts so that everybody can have that quick access to withdrawals. And it could take up to 21 days processing time from the initiation to when the money finally withdraws. So their goal is to get faster and it be within days that you make that request and it actually gets out to you, and to increase the limits beyond where they're at now based on your verification levels, and just have better customer support. So they realize it's an issue, they're working to address it, but obviously they have a myriad of things that they're trying to focus on. But we all understand that it's important that this user experience, the ship is righted so that new people aren't afraid of onboarding and don't have concerns about continuing to participate because they don't think they can be liquid enough when they need to be, especially if they're investing in cards that are, a significant cost, and they want to have confidence that they can do what they need to do with that. And so also there was an update this past week with regards to challenges, and I'll spare you the fine detail in it because basically it reiterated what we had been talking about. And that's that there was a purpose to have a myriad of tiers and different levels for these challenges. So lots of different people can participate in different ways. Not everybody wants to invest money up front, hoping that the return on the card that they would get from the challenge would pay out. Some people want to just actively use it with common packs. And so they're introducing a bunch of different ways people can participate. It encourages holding, it encourages market participation. But as they run into technical issues, some of them overlap. And that's why we have so many that have been running concurrently. It wasn't the original intention, but it's kind of evolved into that. So it'll be interesting to see how they carry that juxtaposition of wanting to spread them out with also wanting to be inclusive and allow everybody to participate. Another thing is for everybody to know, this Rising Stars challenge for Anthony Edwards is going to expire over the next day. So if you're interested in scooping the number one pick, and obviously there's a lot more interest in the rooks this particular week because of some things that happened, you have about a day to do it. And I could be wrong, but I think that has a slight extension. I think that was less at one point, and there's some more time that's been added to the clock. Also, there was the Cool Cats drop over the past week, which I was lucky enough myself to actually score. I think it was thanks to all of the praise to Joe Boo that the whole chat had thrown out at him. And so I scored a pack. I think also Zenite and JAP were also able to score a pack. There were over 300,000 people in the queue. So that was pretty insane. That being said, this is who I ended up scooping. Can't say I was thrilled with it, but then again, seeing what the options were, I don't know what I would have been super hyped about. I was just excited to get a pack. If you're wondering, the other players were nothing that I'd want to share with you, actually. So nothing to write home about, but again, as part of the ecosystem, it's thrilling to get the pack, hear the music, rip it open. I think I actually made a comment on the last stream that I was thinking about holding it and either recording it and then sharing with everybody, or holding it and doing it live here. And someone said, just open it. They couldn't even stand the thought of me holding it because they themselves would want to. So thanks to you, my man, for the encouragement. And this is where we landed. So good luck to everyone today that's trying to get in before the 2-day deadline is finished. If you can't make that, you really may have been out of town or something, or not paying attention to not be able to score that. But that being said, we did mention last week a couple of things about the challenges. The Cool Cats challenge, I believe I had mentioned last week that you just needed the 5 new Cool Cats from the drop. That is not true. You actually need 10 cards in total, and that includes these 5 commons. So there's 5 common cards that you need to scoop as well. And if you do, then you are up for the reward and can get a nice Joker Cool Cat, which is likely going to be part of a larger master challenge, right? And so there's 7 days left on this Cool Cats challenge 3, and then we'll see. We likely will see Cool Cats 4 sometime in the near future. But let's talk about the big news of the week, the rookie badges that were introduced. So rookie badges were talked about for a long time, and there's actually 3 badges that can be designated for the rookies. So you have the rookie year badge, which just signifies that it was a moment that was minted during the player's rookie season. You also have the rookie premier badge. It means it was the very first regular season game that this was minted in. And likewise, you have the rookie mint badge. So it shows that it was of any play that was minted during the rookie year. If the player happens to have, or rather, if the moment happens to have all 3 of those, then they can get this 3-star rookie badge insignia. So obviously that's going to be highly sought after, but a unique situation where all 3 would apply. And then there is also this rookie mint, rather a Top Shot debut badge that will appear when it's the first time that a player has appeared on NBA Top Shot. So very cool stuff. With the launch of this, because there was a lot of anticipation, we did see some unique things in the market from a valuation standpoint. Here is an example of the Anthony Edwards that I scooped along with the Wiseman, I think a pack drop or 2 ago when I had opened it live with all of you. And the unique thing here was, leading up to the release of the rookie badges, the rookies actually went up. I think these 2 went up for me about 200%, or rather 100%. So more than doubled in price. But things were priced in, because when the rookie badges actually were enabled, it quickly dipped back down. And then I think it was initially like 15% or so. And then after that, now it's hovering at about 15% up versus the price that it was prior to the run up. So this was around $90, I think, when I got it. It was slightly over 200 at one point for me when I had checked it leading into the badges. Post release, it was 180, 170, and right now it's 129 or so, or lowest ask. So that just shows the roller coaster that had occurred with the anticipation. Oh, look at that, 105 now. So nearly all the way back down to where it was prior to the badge release. Now, obviously, there's stuff going on with the market, so that impacts it as well. But just interesting to see how, the news and the demand, and I guess similar to the crypto adage, right? You want to sell the news, right? You want to, as the run up is occurring, you want to be invested in it and riding that up and get out of it before the actionable thing actually occurs, because that's when everybody else is looking to get out. Now, for me, I'm a long-term collector. I'm going to hold on to this and see what it's like in a couple of years, unless something in between now and then absolutely makes it a no-brainer to try to divest and to get into other things. But that's a collector's mindset. And as we know with the market, and we've seen with different things going on with the market, there's certainly some other things that are at play here with people that are buying packs solely for the purpose of flipping, people that are active in the market just to buy things and flip, especially when it comes to challenges and things of that nature. And so, there's a lot of mixed feelings about what that does to the ecosystem and whether it's a positive or a negative. We can talk more about that. I'd love to hear some comments from everybody in the group about what your thoughts are on the ecosystem and how people are just going to get in here in some cases to flip. That being said, we do know that, sometimes initially what you see for rookies are not the end all be all. I had an interesting conversation in our Discord chat room with Rob PT45 and Ryan's cards on rooks. And Ryan referenced the 1998 draft class. And if you take a look at that draft class, the top 4 picks were okay, but comparatively, number 5, number 9, and number 10 are Hall of Famers. And that was astutely called out in that conversation. And, if this was the rookie year right now, everyone would be, stacking their bibbies and, the Mike, I don't even know how to pronounce this guy right now, Olokandi, as opposed to, a Paul Pierce or a Dirk. So, it might behoove you to hold on to some of these and see where it goes, just like you would do with traditional collectible cards. Now, also, with regards to the rookies, we have some interesting data over here at Rookshot. I had shown you this resource, I believe 1 or 2 streams ago, but a ton of great data by people that are data mining the blockchain here and seeing what's going on in the market. But you can literally see what we're talking about here. The run up before the rookie badges had occurred, and then the precipitous dip came back up slightly afterwards, and now it is down once again. So we will see where this pans out for the rookies, but overall, I think this will be a great addition to be able to have these insignias on the cards. And one other thing I found very cool on this site was this chart here showing the size of the portfolios of some of the players that are involved in the market. And take a look at Harrison Barnes just going to town and building this portfolio. A big chunk of it are now into Celtics. So very interesting stuff to see how the players are interacting with the Top Shot product and what that means to the ecosystem. And withdrawals, we had touched on it. I thought it would be good to talk about it once again with regards to the market in particular. Is it good? Is it bad? How do we think it is affecting things? Looking at the market, there's a lot of people that continue to be concerned with the valuations and how it continues to slide. I think that, there was a significant run up and things continue to try to correct to a more stable marketplace. Also, there's an influx of supply. Our friends over at the First Mint went over the supply metrics of what will be coming in for common cards, as well as had some great discussions on liquidity and what it means. You know, you, you've heard my spiel that I think for the ecosystem long term, we want to make that barrier to entry low so we can get more people involved, and that means more wallets involved into this ecosystem so we could break through that market cap that's been hovering around 1.2 1.3 billion depending on what website you take a look at. But for us to do that, we need to have more than these 300,000 current players and investors circulating the same cards and money. So I think it's a good thing. I think the correction is short term. We may have more room to go down, but likewise, there will be another catalyst that will spring things back up. And just like investing, just like in crypto, not financial advice, but there's always opportunity in the markets. So if you had your eyes on a specific card from a challenge, if you have your eyes on something long term, then this is an opportune time for you, right? You look for the dip as an opportunity to get in on certain things. Certainly in the middle of the week, it wouldn't have been rookies, but maybe now it is, now that some of that has died down. And then if we take a look at the valuation in the markets, the whale vault on Moment ranks currently at about $64 million. If I look at Evaluate Market, which uses a different methodology, that has slid. So this has slid down to approximately $43 million. Evaluate Market is considered to use a more straight-lined approach with regards to their methodology, and they take into account a lot more of the unique factors of the cards, the serials, the jersey numbers, things of that nature on Moment ranks. So take that as you will. Either way, a substantial holding and still the number one account in all of NBA Top Shot. Some more data here from Greg Murray, who is an absolute machine at churning this out with the First Mint project and some of his other affiliated projects. But what are the whales doing in NBA Top Shot? Who is buying what tiers of cards, and what players are they looking at? If you have a moment, go ahead and follow Greg. He's an awesome follow with regards to anything NBA Top Shot, along with the First Mint. And they just have these amazing infographics that really make it palatable. But if you take a look here, you can see that there's been a unique lineup of players that are getting significant investments. So whether or not that's some foresight into what would be a valuable player based on their play or what they can foresee possibly happening with some market dynamics, interesting to follow, and I will continue to follow that and try to get some alpha from these people that are throwing around some big money. That being said, let me know what you guys think about the supply situation and on flippers. If you have a particular comment, feel free to drop it into the comment on Twitch or Periscope. I will see that here. If not, I will get back to you in the chat shortly after the stream. Likewise, I just wanted to say I am not sure what is coming up for the next big pack drop. We have a base pack pre-order right now, but I would think that there's something in scope in the coming weeks, and I'm excited to see what it is. We still have that run it back that was mentioned, that's on the table. I think they said it would be something in the 2000s with Shaq and T-Mac and some of that crowd. Could it be another legendary pack? I think we got a ton of all-stars, so I think it may be something unique. So I'm eagerly anticipating that and looking forward to whatever comes out. So on to our Swish Whale Basketball League. Congratulations to our winners from this past week, where Giannis kind of got sat and it affected a lot of the stats. Yet a lot of our winners have Giannis in the lineup. Chrome Trollocs Bombas, props to you for coming in first. Had some great picks there with Chris in the defensive slot. Ryan's card Navagai, who's I'm guessing I just have to get used to saying is always going to be in the top 10 here. True Woo, Cincinnati, Revan, the Gray Jedi. I see you still showing up here and doing some damage. Zanag, Walt Mester, 3000, Dominic, and Bob. Bob, who are you? I don't know who you are, Bob, and that makes me nervous. So if you can identify yourself, I would appreciate it. But for the most part, it looks like a lot of consistency in some of these columns. And thanks to our resident statistician, Hooper Dude, has come through once again with the top leaders for each category. And interestingly, De'Aaron Fox was by far the leader for the 2-point field goal category, followed by Joker and Zion. You can see Giannis is not even in there, but the majority of people did choose him and pick him because he had max number of games for the week. For 3-point field goals, it's interesting, not the usual suspects here, right? So no Lillard, no Curry, Devontae Graham, Fred VanVleet, and maybe Buddy Hield, someone may have thrown up there, but for the most part, not the typical picks for this category. From the assist standpoint, Trae Young continues to be a strong choice in that category. And, Joker continues to throw out a ton of assists as well. That man is a machine. He's just dominating categories for us. But interestingly, when it comes to the steals and blocks, Rudy threw up a ridiculous stat line. I think he had 9 blocks in one game this week. So unbelievable performance by him, and he continues to dominate. We need more defensive moments that we can choose from, guys. So Dapper, please, we need a Miles Turner. We need more of these guys. Look at the swath of yellow in the steals and blocks category here that people could not choose. I think Nerlens Noel, who I rolled out there, isn't even on the list. So hopefully some more cards are dropping in the upcoming base comments. I didn't take a look at the players that are in it that closely, but some more steals and blocks would be greatly appreciated. And speaking on the Swish League, I just wanted to make a mention. I know there's a lot of excitement after the winners are announced and everyone's looking for the payouts with regards to it. If you don't know, on the Whale Discord, if you're a hold to play role holder, meaning you actually have Whale in your wallet and you can verify this, you're free to participate in our weekly fantasy league where we give away $1,000 worth of prizes to the top 10 finishers in our league. So if you are interested in NFTs or if you are already in the Whale ecosystem, please join us. We all just have a lot of fun with it. It's not too serious, but we do like to bust each other's chops and chop it up in the chat. So come be part of this community. But speaking of that, Gian, who handles the payouts, he is always trying to coordinate behind the scenes and make sure that we have everybody squared away with the proper names, and so everyone can get the payouts. So it will happen. It will happen in a timely manner. We're just working through the kinks of the process flow of getting the winners, verifying the names, and getting it out to you guys. But that being said, I'm seeing a lot of the same names week after week after week. So, hey, maybe you guys should just let it stack up a little bit. And then before you know it, you'll have a monster amount to withdraw instead of doing it piecemeal and having to take care of that gas, because that is not fun right now. So in other Swish news, Nonstop Theo, who is a machine and put together the Swish app over and above what is in NBA Top Shot as a way to gamify it, had a Twitter thread here where he just basically talks about, hey, Swish is what it is. We tried to make something simplistic that would be able to be accessible by all and gamify things. There's some limitations because of the way Top Shot has evolved from a business standpoint. Nothing negative, just the way it had exploded and what that means to the scarcity and the barriers to entry for new cards and things of that nature. So long story short, he will continue to support the Swish leagues payouts with regards to the other portion. So there's a Whale league on the Swish app, and there's also a standard Swish League, which you can play both if you want to. But the payouts there often involve packs and cards and things of that nature. So he's still working out the timeline on how he'll be able to deliver it. But long story short, he is working on something bigger and better to come over the top with in time. So in this thread, he talks about it and then ultimately says that if you are a dev or a fantasy sports product expert, give him a shout. He's working on something new and you may want to be a part of it. So cool stuff. We're very interested to see what Theo comes up with. And props to all the winners from this past week who put in some great work and had some great foresight, picking much better than me. I think I landed in 27th, which seems to be around where I'm sticking for the time being. So I definitely need to invest in a new defensive card and give a little more chicken and rum to Joe Boo. But that being said, for this upcoming week, a look at the lineup shows that the Lakers have 3 games only during the week. So anyone interested in rolling out their LeBron might want to give that pause. Denver also only has 3 games. So Joker would likely not be a great pick unless you were backed into a corner and he was your best option of some of your players. I know for me in particular, with Portland only having 3 games, I actually ran with Fred VanVleet for my 3-point slot this week. So we will see how this turns out for me. I have a feeling that this is going to continue to bite me until I can invest and bite the bullet and put the money into a defensive card, but timing is everything. So watching the market and seeing when that will be opportune. I think that's it for this week, guys. Hopefully you all are interested in getting into the base pack and you're in the pre-order line. I will see you next week. Best of luck. And as always, all praise to Joe Boo.